Hi, my name's Steve Usher and welcome to the Experienced Designers Podcast. Hello and a very warm welcome to a very special episode of the Experienced Designers Podcast. So I thought I'd kick things off with an exciting announcement that I will be the official podcasting partner for the upcoming Design Thinking Conference in Amsterdam, which is taking place at the Tobacco Theatre on the 10th and 11th of October. Thank you so much to Anna and Tim and to the rest of the team for inviting me back. I'm really looking forward to it and to meeting new people and to sharing out some great content from participants, from the organisers and from the speakers live from the event. So look out for those future episodes. So in addition to my normal interview formats, which I'll have some amazing guests lined up for you, as we approach the event, I thought it would be a really good idea to perhaps release a series of interviews recorded at last year's event, as well as sharing a glimpse into the upcoming speakers, who they are and their backgrounds. And so first up for this episode today, I thought it would be a really great idea to just share out just some of the really great kind of informal conversations that took place a couple of weeks ago with two of those who will be involved with the event this year. One as a speaker and another one more from a kind of different kind of capacity for last year. So first up is Stefan van Stiegel. Some of you may recognise the name if you're a regular listener. Stefan makes history actually in his illustrious career. He's the first person to return back to the podcast. And last year he was a speaker and delivered an amazing opening keynote. And this year he'll be returning in a very different capacity. And then secondly, you'll also be hearing from the wonderful Cristina Anderson, nicknamed Madam Robotics, based in Helsinki. And she'll be bringing a fantastic insight from, I'll leave it to her to tell you what she's going to be doing and her background as well. So anyway, over to the guests and enjoy this very special episode. So Stefan, welcome to a very special edition of the Experienced Designers Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So this is it's going to be a first of a very small kind of series of pods leading up to the Design Thinking Conference in Amsterdam in October, which I'm really excited to be supporting and understand. Obviously, you're going to be a part of it again this year.
Yeah, so I was a speaker last year, one of the keynotes, and this year I'll be doing one of the interventions. So we're going to do I think we're going to involve the audience in some sort of experiment. So
good stuff.
That's going to be exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So just for those that either didn't attend the conference last year or perhaps haven't listened to the previous pod we recorded, which was released earlier this year, and actually, you've made history today, Stefan. You could might be a list of achievements to go onto your long list of achievements so far in your career. But you're the first person to come back onto the show. So thank you for joining me again.
That's an honor.
Yeah, it is. So thank you for coming back on. So just a quick intro into yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do and your focus.
So yeah, I'm 39 years old. I live in Utrecht, and I just became a professor in cognitive psychology. So I did my PhD in Amsterdam on visual attention and eye movements, and after that I started the Attention Lab here in Utrecht, in which we study visual perception and visual awareness.
Yes.
And I'm also a popular science writer. So I wrote 2 popular science books. One of them is already published in English. It's called How Attention Works. And the second one, which is called Concentration, is going to be published next year, also by MIT Press.
Fantastic. And just tell us a little bit about the Attention Lab. What kind of projects do you get involved in? What kind of work do you typically undertake? Anything you could share?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so we do a lot of work on like basic visual perception. So we want to understand how we perceive the world around us. And to do that, we study visual attention. So what do you pick up from the world around you? And visual awareness. So which information can you report on? And we use a variety of techniques like eye movement recordings, pupillometry, But we also do a lot of clinical studies, and clinical studies in which we sort of investigate how brain damage gives problems in visual attention and visual awareness, and whether brain damage changes something about how we perceive the world. And we also do a lot of more applied work. So we work together with companies and also to improve how they present themselves to the world. Because if you want to convey a message, you have to understand how visual attention works. Because if information doesn't get attended, it means it's going to be completely ignored. And therefore, the basic rules of attention are really important to know, I think, for everyone who is interested in bringing information across.
Yeah, super interesting topic. And tell us a little bit about just something about yourself that you don't normally tell people. Anything you want to share that you...
So yeah, I think I've been thinking about this question. Actually, one of the things I think I can tell you is that I'm actually starting to become interested in meditation on a personal level. So for the second book, I wrote a large piece about things to improve your concentration and your focus. And I was reading the literature on meditation, and I was actually... Well, I wasn't too sure myself. I was a little bit skeptic. But when I started to read the literature, I became pretty convinced that it's actually a pretty good concentration trainer. So based on the rule, practice what you preach, I started to get more into meditation, and I'm still an absolute beginner, but it's an interesting adventure.
Absolutely. Are you using kind of a guided meditation tool at the moment, or are you kind of going all in just with on your own?
No, I had a teacher, and so I think I had a good introduction. And from now on, I'm a little bit on my own. But I think after a while, I think I will go to the next level.
Very good.
I'm starting to get addicted to it a little bit. So
yeah, it's
good stuff. I think I can really advise it to everyone who's never tried it to give it a try. Also, the scientific evidence is really convincing.
It is, and it's a great way to, as part of your kind of daily routine or morning routine, from waking up and setting yourself for the day. I mean, that's something both my wife and I do every single day. Is we do literally a 10-minute meditation every morning, and it's brilliant. It's very good. It's just
I can imagine
like anything though, you've got to stick it out 6-12 months, and it's not just for kind of a short-term whim. It's anything, you have to stick with it and create the habit. So it's it's good. Highly recommend. And just tell us a little about what have you been working on since last year's conference? Anything kind of anything bubbling away that you've been working on?
Yeah, so I've been writing a big grant proposal, which hopefully by the end of the conference I will know whether I got that. So we're doing a lot of pilot work on that, hoping to get some money from the European Union to investigate what information from the outside world we actually internalize. So we don't have a large memory for sort of the information that's currently present in the world around you. And it's not necessary, because we use our eyes to explore our world. There's no need to internalize the external world, because the external world is out there. But still, we actually do internalize some of that information. And there's surprisingly very little known what determines which information from the external world you actually put in your internal memory. And that's actually something that I've been writing a grant proposal about, to see whether we can sort of... I have some ideas about what determines which information you internalize, but at this stage, these are just merely hypotheses, which I really want to go out and start testing.
Fascinating. So just let's kind of talk a little bit about the conference. Tell us a little bit about your own kind of experience of last year's event as a speaker. That was your kind of your first experience of the conference and design thinking, I think, generally. And so just share your own experience. What was the kind of biggest learning you took from it? What was your own view?
Yeah, well, it was really interesting for me, because I just published the second book in the Netherlands, and mean that I had a big tour, and I had to give a talk numerous times, and I was trying. And actually, that morning I woke up and I started to get sick of it a little bit. I thought, do I have to go again? And I had some bad experiences with audience not really interested. So I was actually thinking myself, do I still want to do this? And I came into the conference, and it was the best talk I ever gave, not because of me, but because of the audience. Like, the moment I came on stage, it was immediately clear to me that everyone was really eager to learn and eager to listen. And I actually walked away from that experience saying, this is why I do this. This is why I love doing this stuff.
Amazing.
So for me, it was actually a turning point, saying, okay, this is the type of audience I want to talk to. Because it was really interactive, and also the other speakers were absolutely brilliant. I think that whole experience was extremely nice, and I didn't have much experience with this community So I came in walking just one of my gigs, but I walked away feeling a full member actually of the community. So I almost insisted to come back this year.
Fantastic. So great to hear. And can I, in terms of, what would you say, because, similar to this year and last year, the topic around empathy is very kind of a big red thread throughout the conference and its focus. Just how did last year's conference impact your own views on empathy? Did you just notice any shifts or any thoughts around that?
Yeah, I think one of the things we realized during those 2 days is that you have to really understand the other, and it's not. I think what we take as a basic rule, which is not true, is that the other perceives the world in the same way. And I think if you start communicating about how the other perceives the world, you start to realize that sort of the basic findings we have in the lab, that everyone perceives the world differently, is actually really true in the external world. Everyone lives in their own bubble and perceives the information completely in line with their own expectation of what they want to see and what they think they will see. And I think understanding that is sort of the first step in truly understanding the other and creating empathy for the other person, is understanding that his perception or her perception might not be the same as your perception. Yeah. And I knew these basic rules, but seeing them applied during those 2 days was really insightful.
How interesting, and just hugely complex and detailed, and so much you could really delve into that. And I'm sure I'm sure we could do it. We could definitely do an hour pod just delving into that for sure. So tell me a little bit about. So I'm really excited to hear about your new role at the conference. Tell us a little bit about that.
So for the people who went to the conference, they know there's the buddy system in which you regularly meet up with one person during the conference just to reflect on things that have been going on. And what I want to do is I want to give a certain assignment during those buddy moments. And I think one of the things is to realize that your perception might not be a reflection of what's actually going on. And I will give a very short introduction on that topic. It's almost philosophical. Well, it is philosophical, actually, because it's very interesting to think about. And you can also not agree with the statements that we're making. But during those body moments, I think what we try to do is we try to people have reflect on the idea that their perception of the world might not be an accurate representation of the actual physical experience around them.
Fantastic.
So that's sort of getting into, I want to create some sort of consciousness of what their perception actually is of the world, and if they share that with their buddy, I hope they might actually reach some interesting conclusions on that. So we'll wrap up at the end of the conference saying, what does this intervention actually do to you? And I think it will be very interesting for people to realize, and I do that actually regularly each day, that I realize what I'm seeing is not an accurate reflection of the external world.
Wow.
And just realizing that what you see is created by your brain and not created, and might not be a reflection of the actual world, is for me actually an eye-opener, almost literally. Yeah.
Wow. I'm sensing there's going to be a few people spinning out from this experiment.
Let's hope that. Yeah, at least we get some conversation going. Yeah.
Oh, really looking forward. So basically, it's going to be a live lab situation at the conference, and there'll be some real kind of enlightening aha moments, I hope, as part of that for many of those who attend.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And just one last, any kind of just your own thoughts, because with the benefit of obviously attending one of the conferences, anything you could give in terms of a piece of advice for anyone who's attending for the first time, anyone who's kind of delving in and being inquisitive this year and attending?
You need some advice for them, or
any advice you give anybody? Just coming.
Well, open your mind. I think that was actually one of the things. The funny thing is, it almost happens automatically. So as I said, I wasn't even ready to open my mind because I had other things on my mind. But the moment I walked in, it already happened. So I think that experience can tell us that don't worry about it. Just go in, and the atmosphere is going to be such that this will open your mind almost automatically. So if you have any worries in your personal life, I'm pretty sure everyone will forget them the moment they walk into the conference. I think the conference is really suited for that type of reaction. So don't worry about it. It will be fine. Even if you come in like me very negatively, the moment you walk in, everything changes.
Yeah, I agree. Totally
for the better. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, look, Stefan, thank you so much for your time, and for those attending or listening and haven't booked a ticket and obviously want to come along, please book a ticket, and we'll definitely see you in October in Amsterdam. Really looking forward to seeing you again. Yeah.
Me too. See you in Amsterdam.
Yeah, take care. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye now. Bye. Cristina, welcome to the Experienced Designers podcast.
Oh, thank you, Steve. Happy to be here.
Fantastic. So just in the way of a very quick introduction into yourself.
Oh, yes. Well, at least here in Finland, I'm known as Madam Robotics. So I'm an educationalist by my background, but I found robots and artificial intelligence about 8 years ago. We were writing the book Boho Business, The Victory of Man Over Machine. And then we just found out that, okay, robots are becoming better and better and better, and sometimes they will be able to do things what we people are used to do.
Yes. So just tell me a little bit about, perhaps as part of a normal introduction with yourself. Is there anything else you'd like to share that you don't normally tell people about yourself?
Mm-hmm. Well, I could say that I love opera and I sing opera too. And actually, I'm having a concert here in Helsinki in 2 weeks.
Fantastic. Well, that's one you definitely don't normally share. So,
No.
So tell me, how did you get into opera? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, it's quite funny. I was listening to, this is really, really weird. I heard from the radio the interlude to Opera Rienzi by Richard Wagner, and this is fantastic music. And so I became a Wagnerian, and as I liked those operas so much, I thought that I would like to sing them too. So I started to study, and it appeared that I have quite a good voice to sing, but of course my technique is not so good as professional singer's technique. But anyway, so I started to sing, and so I have given some concerts in Germany, Iceland, here in Finland, and I try to just keep it up so that whenever I have time, so I'm practicing singing.
Fantastic! What a wonderful thing! Wonderful. So let's go from opera to Madam Robotics. tell us a little bit about how you how did you get involved and into this specific area?
Yeah, well, we were writing the book Boho Business, as I mentioned, and so we found, 2009 already there were companies making strategies how to use robots. For example, Foxconn, this huge company, they say that they will replace all their workers with robots. So, well, it didn't happen like that. But anyway, that was their plan, or they were thinking like that. And so we were started to think, hey, what is going on? That where are all these people going to go? And where does the government get its income if nobody's paying income taxes anymore? And in 2007 already, South Korea, the government, they had discussions for the future robotized society when everybody has a robot. They actually, they had a foresight that in 2020, there will be a robot in every household in South Korea. So that's now very close. And so I think we need this ethical discussion. Absolutely. And also that we need to understand the technology in order to understand what we need to learn.
Yes, fascinating. I may ask, in terms of South Korea, where would you say they are against that 100% target?
Well, that's very difficult to say because, for example, these vacuum cleaner robots, they are quite in many homes already here in Finland. So it's very hard to say. I'm not familiar with that, but I would say that they are not reaching the target, at least not yet.
Yes,
indeed. It will take a while.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about what you've been up to in 2019, just to give us a flavour of some of the things that you've been involved with.
Yeah, well, I have been giving tons of speeches. That's what I do. Then I'm also an expert. So I have been working with the EU committee, the European Economical and Social Committee, where we have been thinking this year about artificial intelligence, equity, and education. And as Finland is now holding the EU presidency, so this is also a topic here in Finland, and organizing also a visit for a committee to visit Finland and see what we are doing here with AI and robotics and so on. And I'm also working with the Finnish National Program for Healthcare with artificial intelligence and robotics in healthcare. And that has been I've been working with that now for 4 years. And I must say that that's so interesting because we really need to have those robots to help us. People get older and older and older, so there are many things we need daily help. For example, with medication and maybe eating, and so there will not be enough personnel to take care of everything we need. So robots are not going to replace people, but they are going to be able to do some tasks which help us a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, healthcare I've heard is very, very super hot right now.
It is.
I agree. Very, very much needed. And how would you describe, or how would you kind of say, what's your view around the future and the key developments? How would you kind of stream some of the AI area? Because AI, when people talk about AI, it can feel quite broad. It's quite a broad term. Where do you see some of the developments in terms of some of the key streams that sit underneath AI in some of the areas?
Yeah, here I could say that Design Thinking Conference is just on point, because we will have more time for creativity, for design, for thinking, and all those things that are very human and are things that make us feel good. So it's very pleasant to have that time to really be who you are and create from that point of view. So I think that the future will be so that there is cooperation with robots, but also there will be autonomous systems that can do things for us, and we don't have to do any of that anymore. Some routines, some which is dirty, dull, dangerous, or very, very expensive. So that's something. And when I'm thinking, for example, about climate change, so why don't we send robots to make research, to deep waters or deserts or the tundras where people cannot go.
Yes.
And they can also do there something that needs to be repaired where people cannot go. And we should use this technology for the benefit of all of us and all the Mother Earth as well.
Yes, agree. I think it's, I mean, just tying some of what you've talked about there, I think it's really important that we have this kind of strong, I don't want to call it governance, but we need to have a very strong kind of foundation, because I think the technology is moving so fast that we need to have this kind of governance together just to ensure that it's being, developed in the right way, not, in conjunction with humans, not just for data purposes or for, unsavory situations. So, I think it's that balance is going to be absolutely key.
Yes. And I love that you use the word governance, because many like to use the word ethics, which is very, very difficult. We have been discussing ethics at least for 6,000 years, and there is no agreement of what is and what is ethical for some is not ethical for others.
Absolutely.
But on governance, I think we can agree on most.
Yes, agree. And so tell me, the Design Thinkers Conference, how did you come to hear about it? How did the paths cross?
Oh, yes. My very, very good and dear friend, Professor Anne Stenros, was also one of the speakers in Design Thinkers Conference. And I think she tipped me to Arne Osterom then. And so I'm so grateful to Anne that this opportunity found me.
Yes, and I think you'll have some fantastic insights and perceptions of this, to share with the audience for sure. So tell me, what would you? I mean, what's most excited about, or what are you kind of interested in at this year's conference? What are you looking to gain or learn or get inspired by this year?
Yeah, well, there are fantastic speakers. This is for one. So I think my ears are going to grow to the size of a plate. So that I can really hear everything what is said. But I think the best part is the interactivity, so that we can talk to each other, talk with each other, and maybe create something, a new thought, a new idea, something that will carry then for a long time, that we can take, something starts to emerge. This is, I think, what I'm looking forward to.
Fantastic. Most. I think there's plenty of surprises in store, that's for sure. And just in terms of your own involvement, just to share with the audience around what you're going to be talking about, or any kind of insights, anything you want to share, obviously without giving anything away, of course. But yeah, any sneak previews?
Yes. So this will be something weird, something even spooky. Albert Einstein called it spooky. And so I've been studying quantum technologies now for 1 year now, so only 1 year, so I don't know actually much. But there are some developments in quantum technologies that must make us people or give us the challenge that we need to think some things anew, because there are things that we don't understand, which is weird, which is spooky, and that's something that we need to live with in the future. So I'm just going to talk about quantum leadership. What does it mean for us people when we lead ourselves, or we lead our colleagues, or our companies? So I'm going to give some ideas. What could it mean for us? But I'm not going to give any answers, because there are no answers.
No.
But I'm hoping that together we can maybe create something that we could make better business and better world and better leadership in the future.
Absolutely. And that's something very close to my heart. So I mean, I do a lot of kind of employee experience design, and we can see the fragmentation of the workplace. It needs work. That's for sure. I'll leave that one there. But there's a lot of development, and there's inside organisations. There's a lot of work to do out there. So, super interested. You're bringing that topic to the conference. So, Cristina, thank you so much for this kind of sneak preview and a little bit of insight into yourself. And I very much look forward to meeting you in person, of course, and seeing you up on stage in October in Amsterdam.
Yes, and ditto, and thank you, Steve.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
And there you have it, another episode of the Experienced Designers podcast. Thank you so much to my guests, Stefan and Cristina. Thank you so much for your time and giving us a small glimpse into you and your work. And we're very much looking forward to seeing you at the Design Thinking Conference next month. So the pods will continue to flow thick and fast over the next few months. So next week you'll meet another 2 guests attending the conference, Esther Thol from the Netherlands and Jean Liedka from the US. So really looking forward to those. And so in the meantime, thank you so much for listening. And until the next time, bye for now.